The film you're about to see is an introduction at a movie premiere by me and by Sandra DeRoy. The film is called Awakening of 12 Strands, and it premiered at the Horse Hospital Cinema in Bloomsbury, London in January. And I was asked to sort of introduce it, and I did, and I think I did a pretty good job considering I hadn't prepared anything at the time. But you can be the judge of that. Yeah, it was a really great evening. I went there to the cinema with my daughter Louisa, who was at her very very first Weird Stuff event, and she handled it very well. As you can see, it was a pretty cold evening, but Sandra is much less affected by the cold than I am. Yeah, a lot of people came along, such as my friends, various friends, such as Miles Johnston, Colin Woolford, etc. And the cast and crew of the film came along too. And I say crew, but that was mostly Sandra herself. But I did recognise a few people in the room, and I thought, well, that's quite something. I've seen those people before somewhere. I'm sure I have. And I remember thinking, oh, where have I seen them before? And of course, they were the characters, the actors and characters in the film. Now, the film is actually quite complex. It's a small, independently produced film. Sandra basically funded and designed and wrote and did all the production design herself, editing, production, everything. She did the whole thing herself. But it's very complex for a film of that done by just one person. It's a magnificent achievement. It has a very large number of characters. As a result, a big cast, lots of different scenes, and it presents the ideas, I think, very, very well. If you want to watch it, it's just £3.69 on Vimeo. Link in the description box, you'll be able to see that. If you want to listen to an interview with Sandra DeRoy, the director, also link in the description box. Check that out. Now, the first time I saw the film, I didn't quite understand it. And of course, the critics these days, they say, well, if somebody can't understand something, then it's not very good. If they can't just understand it by sitting there and just vegetating and eating chips while they've sort of got one eye on the TV. If you can't understand something when you do that, there's something wrong with the movie. That's the general view of critics these days. I disagree with that. I like to think that movie viewers are intelligent intellectuals. Sandra treats her viewers as intelligent intellectuals. That means that she expects us to think. And this is a film where you need to think. The subject matter of the film is not something to which one can provide sound-bite answers. So if you don't get it first time, watch it again. Stick with it. That if you buy the stream, if you could watch it on streaming online, I think it's a whole year you get for that $3.69. Watch it again. Watch it again. Stick with it. The second time I watched it, I got it. Okay, so please don't give up on the film. Stick with it because it's a really, really interesting, very, very important film. It was a lovely evening. I really, really enjoyed it. So thanks very much to Sandra for organising this. And thanks to everyone who came along. And thank you, Miles Johnston, for your excellent camera work. This is a high quality, high definition recording in very dim light because this was a cinema. So thank you very much to that. So watch the introduction, listen to me and Sandra talking about the film, and then check out the link in the description box. Listen to my interview with Sandra DeRoy, the director of Awakening of 12 Strands, and then, of course, go and watch the movie. You won't regret it. Projects, and so most of you, I'd say. Anyone never had any contact with the Basis project before?
Yes.
All right, a few of you. All right. Now, the reason I'm saying that is because, and how many of you are familiar with Hospital Portland in the New World Order? Even more, great. Yeah. That's great. Now the reason I'm saying this is it's not because there's any organisational connection between these various organisations or groups. It's because what you can experience tonight is related to the subject matter you might read on those particular websites, on YouTube channels, etc. And if you are unfamiliar with the themes that are going to be brought up in the film you're about to see, then it might be a bit of a shock. It might overturn your reality. It might even change your life. It's no exaggeration to say that. What you're about to see, I think, is a unique and very groundbreaking film. Now Sandra DeRoy, can you hear me now? Is that all right?
Absolutely.
All right, no worries.
Perfect.
Now Sandra DeRoy is a filmmaker, made a film a couple of years ago called The Walking Case. It's a short, just 20 minutes long. Is it 20 minutes, Sandra? 20, yeah. It was nominated for a Basis Project Film Festival Award, and very richly deserved, I should say. This is a feature-length drama, very similar thematically, and it's a far more ambitious project. Now, Sandra has directed this film, and you've done all the production, I believe. You edited it and organised all the production and
yeah, pretty
casting.
much all. I received the critical moments. I received helping out with holding the camera through whatever my dictation, unfortunately. Yeah, but absolutely. The credits are all listed in the movie who helped out. Yeah.
I mean, Sandra DeRoy is a very, very talented filmmaker, and she could go a long way in Hollywood and earn millions and millions of dollars. If only she'd be just a little bit more normal. But she doesn't.
That's not going to happen.
No. There are still some people who are not willing to trade in their artistic integrity for a material glory, which is what a lot of people, if you see the quality of some films coming out of Hollywood, it varies obviously, but they will not go into the same subject matter that Sandra does in the same way. Even though I wouldn't say that, I'm not saying that all mainstream films are rubbish, because that's not true. Just that it's only when you come on independent production that you will come across films that unashamedly and blatantly are willing to address the kind of subjects you're going to see in this film tonight. So what subjects are these? Well,
what about your book?
I have to wait and see. Yeah, oh yeah, I mustn't forget that. Yeah,
don't be shy. Let's talk about it. I'm in the process of reading it.
Yeah, oh, no worries. I'm rather similar to Sandra because I am a creative artist, although the written word is my palette and my paintbrush, rather than the celluloid.
I don't know
and the
how you
clapperboard.
did that. I don't know how you wrote that. God almighty.
Well, I mean, the thing about writing is it's different from screenwriting in a sense, because I'm a prose man, I'm a prostitute, as they say. But it is, I don't know how I write things sometimes. It sometimes just seems to come out of nowhere. And the secret to good art, whether you paint a picture, or write a book, or make a movie, is about channeling your muse. The muse is what I think the Romans or the Greeks called the spirit of creativity. And it sometimes comes to you at certain points, and you can just it's almost like automatic writing that I know some channelers and psychic mediums can do. And I think, Sandra, you challenge your muse, you really have in this, and I think I have too. My book is called Roswell Rising, a novel of disclosure, and I address some of the same themes that Sandra does in this film, which is I think why I was so enthralled when I got in touch with Sandra and we started talking. I contacted Sandra when I was a judge at the Basis Project Film Festival 2015, and I saw The Walking Case. And that, I think, started a very, very interesting discussion between two...
I thought it should have won, Ben, but I mean, sorry to talk up.
It's all right, Miles. Feel free to interject, ladies and gentlemen, if you want. But it did. It started a very, very interesting artistic discussion, a dialogue between us. And Sandra was actually a guest on a Panama radio show, programme 213, which was last November. I'm a radio show host. And I suddenly realised that my book was very similar to Sandra's film in many ways, although our styles are very, very different. And we express things in a very, very different way. But yet, my film, not just the book I've written now, but the book I am now writing, because I'm writing a sequel to Roswell Rising, a novel of disclosure. And I've found this film inspiring. I really have, Sandra. It's given me ideas. Not in a plagiaristic sense, but just in the inspirational sense.
Yeah.
There's a video all about my book on Miles's channel, actually, on the Basis Project YouTube channel. So I talk about my book. I don't have any copies with me, I'm afraid. I'm very, very sorry. I'm in the process of editing it, not to change the book or bring out a new edition or anything like that. I'm not even going to make the text bigger, because that's a complaint I've had, and I can't. It's too difficult to do without spending a lot more money and taking a lot more time. So I'm not going to do that. But what I'm going to do is just change, just iron out some of the errors, the spelling mistakes and things like that. And I'm going to basically put the book on sale. It's still going to be £9. Eventually I'm going to get the text made bigger, which will unfortunately mean it's going to be a bigger book, it's going to be a thicker book, and it's going to increase the price. But at the moment you can get it for £9 on Amazon, and excuse the typos, I know they're there. It's a bane of small publishers. If you are a self-publisher or a small publisher, and Maria knows what I'm talking about. People come up to me and say, Ben, I like the book, but you know there's a few typos here and there, and I'm going, I know! You're telling me anything I don't know. It's like playing whack-a-mole. There's so many of them. I mean, technically there must be a finite number of typographical errors in a book, but it just seems like they just feel infinite. And for those of us who can't afford a professional proofreader, which costs what, £600-700 for someone to proofread a book of my extent, the extent of mine, there's nothing you do about it. So I'm going to just correct some of the spelling mistakes that I've mentioned, and I'm going to change the book so you can. It's a print-on-demand book, which is very easy to do, very cheap and easy to do nowadays. If you've got a book inside you, ladies and gentlemen, there's no excuse anymore. You don't need to get contract with a publisher. You can publish it yourself for a very, very small amount, just £40 or something. They will print it for you, and then you can just put the final design in, and they'll print it for you. But this world is not what we think it is. How long have I got, Sandra?
You have a good 5-10 minutes.
Great. Just checking.
Yeah, absolutely.
This world is not what we think it is, or what it appears to be on the surface. That's the underlying message of Awakening of 12 Strands, a feature-length drama by Sandra DeRoy, and Rising, a novel of disclosure. Now, Sandra, shall I introduce you just before then? And I'll just say, do you want to come up and say a few words?
Yeah, sure, why not? Yeah, and then that's it, and then we can start.
Yeah, but of course, you've talked to me, you've listened to me talking about this film. I've seen the film, and it's amazing. It's a groundbreaking and innovative, and I think pioneering film. It is a revolutionary film. It is a feature-length drama from the producer and director of The Walking Case, a short, an award-nominated short. And, well, of course, you'll want to hear about the lady behind the whole thing. And here she is. It's Sandra DeRoy.
I feel it's important for me to say a couple of words because I've been getting some feedback about the movie, and it's been a little bit sort of it's been teaching me a lot actually how to sort of go on about it as well. So basically, just for anyone, some of the faces actually I don't even know here. Thank you so much for coming. Really, thank you anyone who promoted this as well. You're very welcome. So, thank you, Ben. I knew that you're the man for the job to present this intro. You pretty much summed it up, Ben, but essentially, it started from from a point where the destination I knew where it was going to end up, but along the way I sort of took on board a lot of different ideas and concepts, new ones, and then for some odd reason synchronicity brought to me completely new understandings and how to as well update and then become a better person and a producer. Awakening of 12 Strands then is referring to the human DNA, just point blank period. That's just how it is. I try to make that clear as possible. And it's talking about essentially the human, us all, as well as Gaia, and the time period that we're living in right now. And you know, we are living in very interesting times, at least in my opinion, where even people who don't use their, don't analyze their surroundings are starting to question this world and what is happening. It talks about the human soul, and then how the human soul essentially doesn't forget. And I've raised the questions that, so what are we here for? What are we here to do? And what is the point of all this, essentially? So the title is indicating that I think that our destination is to be a little bit more than we think we are, and that things, like Ben said, not everything works the way we think it works. That it's, as soon as when you start asking these questions, I think that it will be for anyone a life-changing move. I remember myself very clearly 10 years ago when I didn't ask these questions. And trust me, believe me, I don't want to go back to that life. That is the life I don't want to live. Because my life now is full of color, it's full of mysticism and excitement, and I'm in control, essentially, and I definitely would never ever go back to how it was. So now I'm living in infinite probabilities. Okay, well, thank you very much. I think that summed it up in a nutshell. And from a technical point of view, just, you know, I'm going to sound like Miles now. The sound, updated sound version is going to come up very soon. It's in the making. It's looking positive. It's not that crappy, this product. This product is not that crappy. So there's potential to tweak it and actually make it into a quality cinematic version. And I'm working on that. Hopefully it's going to come out in the next few weeks. It's going to be on IMTV. It's on Vimeo on demand now, just for a few pounds. And I'm going to build a website, and then we're going to sort of start with these simple steps to keep the buzz going. Thank you.